So, this is the Buttcast episode 2, and our special guest is Kirby, who I'm going to just lead by saying you're an idiot. I'm going to start by pulling back the veil. We just tried to have 30 seconds of us not talking so that I could clean up the audio, and you just sat there and you just hummed.
Well, like 5 seconds.
What is wrong with you? You can't sit still for 30 seconds. Anyway, introduce yourself.
I guess. What's your alias?
Nice, bro. I'm Buck. Thanks.
Sorry.
Thank you for revealing to the world that's my alias.
Sorry. As Buck has mentioned, my name is Kirby. I am a more casual player of Yuga than anything else. I've only recently joined the competitive scene at my local college. My deck style has always been either a control deck style or a linear deck style. Linear being my fairy deck is Marincess. It's very linear. You just go full combo off of one card, and it's real simple. End on your boss monster. And then my control deck is Axis Sisters, which is best deck, by the way. Let's go! And others will disagree, but it is best deck. It's very control. You can do so many things with it. D-Shifter does wonders for you. Makes everyone go turn pass.
I've still never read Nexus Sister. I have played against it like 3 times. I have never read Nexus Sister card.
It just survives on D-Shifter, where it just says, okay, send to grave. Now, both turns have a no graveyard but banish zone. And against like a deck like Tier Elements, they really hate that because it can't go to grave to activate.
Is it really just like more consistent Flunder, or is it just worse Flunder?
I would say most likely worse Flunder, as with Flunder they can survive with, they really don't need graveyard, that what they need is banish zone, and all the effects can activate in banishment, so they get more positive effects than Exorcister does. We just don't care about our graveyard.
Interesting. Anyway, what format did you start? What was the first competitive format you were aware of, as you were playing?
Last year, when I first entered,
like the Eldritch and Emancipator format, or
I believe so. Yeah, it's whenever I first.
So Secret Slayers format that you were first, like Pandemic format.
I think so. Yeah, it was my first year into college. Really
interesting.
I was more, again, very casual. I knew about the balance. I knew it existed and all. I just really didn't care for it. I really didn't go to anything too crazy.
Yeah.
And it's strange enough that you and I both shared the first structure deck.
Wait, you also got the Atlantean structure deck?
Yeah, my Atlantean structure deck was the very first deck I ever picked up.
Wow.
I rocked that shit till it died. And I mean, when the cards died. Not so the deck died, the cards died. They were heavily destroyed. Little me did not care.
I still got mine.
Good for you.
Mine are okay. I used sleeves, though. Were you one of them?
I did not use sleeves. I didn't know sleeves existed.
I don't know when I figured out about sleeves, but I feel like it was pretty early that I realized that shuffling the cards as they came was absolutely awful. And you just completely destroyed the cards. I was like, surely this can't be right.
Oh, yeah. My close friends I've made at my college club has quickly told me when I first showed up to put sleeves on, you fucking buffoon. Wait, can I cuss?
I don't care.
Alright, then I can cuss then.
Then you are you.
Alright, then I am Kirby.
I maybe someday, when I actually care about YouTube analytics and traction, I might be like, oh, bro, don't curse in the first 5 minutes. But
that's right, you can't curse in the first 5 minutes.
I don't know how long it is. I think it's...
No, it's 5 minutes. It's like the first 5 minutes you can't cuss. After that, YouTube doesn't care.
But considering the fact that literally I haven't checked the YouTube analytics, I'm pretty sure I'm at, 2 views. I
was one of them.
Here's a little mystery. So... As of recording, the only one out is episode 0, which I did not particularly want people to listen to. I thought it was kind of a mistake that I started talking about it. But I was looking at analytics on Anchor, which, by the way, quick rant about Spotify. You can't post things to Spotify. You have to get a different app and then upload it to that app, and then you can link it to Spotify. So which did I use? I used Anchor. You know what Anchor is? It's just made by Spotify. Spotify made a different app just for you to upload podcasts to, and then you link it to your Spotify. Why? I don't know.
Profit.
It seems rather convoluted. Anyway, I got my Anchor statistics. I was looking at it, and I was like, wait a second. There are more viewers than people I told about this existing. Who spilled the sauce? Or who watched it on 2 different Spotify accounts? Someone watched it on 2 different, either half of the people I told watched it on 2 different Spotify accounts.
You think I got the money for 2? Well, it's a free account. Free account. You think I got time to make free accounts?
It is a mystery. It's very funny, though, because the analytics tell me, like, gender demographics and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I can just pull this sucker up. But it was very funny to just watch it, my girlfriend just pop in, because she is the only one in the age range and in the gender range. So I just saw it happen, her just appear, and I was like, oh, that's her. Anyway, so
top 10 episode.
The top 10 episodes is just the one episode. But if we go to audience, 100% of them are American. Wow, big surprise. 100% are on Spotify, because I have not linked any other podcast viewing platforms. And then we got 80% is aged 18 to 22. Now I kind of feel weird because I realize I'm just leaking all of my friends' ages.
You should probably stop. I don't want to get found by you people here.
But anyway, my girlfriend is over the age of 22. And
you're still getting wasted information. Just stop talking.
There is 10% that is in that range, and then there is 10% that is female. I'm like, that is just one person.
Wait, does one not specified?
I don't know who that is. But there is a not specified person.
Oh, they even got non-binary. Oh,
I have no idea where they get this information. I didn't tell Spotify when I made an account what my gender was.
I think it's when you sign up for the account, it says, are you male, female, or other? And please specify.
I don't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. It was kind of funny. So, you first were aware of coded format and Secret Slayer's format. That's kind of crazy. That is like the highest power format that has ever existed, perhaps. So that's kind of...
yes, I recall a good friend of mine, which was Pure Rock. And the funny part about Emancipator was just you mill and you miss everything you could have ever hit. You just miss 5 draws and, like, you suck.
Is that was your experience? Was they were just kept missing? They kept whipping on finding rocks?
Yes.
That is not the experience. Where literally everyone else hits. Oh, normal dude, activate the effect. Oh, the 5 best rock monsters in the deck? I guess I'll take Guardian. And then they go to the second one and they're like, oh, the best 5 cards in my deck? I guess I'll get the second Guardian. And it's like, oh, wow, cool. All of my hand traps do literally nothing.
Yeah, he kept whiffing on those. He never got to his Guardians.
I remember Pure Adamantium was really funny. I remember there was a guy in my locals who played that with, like, Adamantium friends or whatever. That just lets you, like, mill 8 or excavate 8 cards, but it locks you in a rock, so it's terrible. It's really funny, some of the Adamantium cards that are absolutely busted, except for the fact that they say you can only special summon rock monsters. They just make them unplayably terrible. That was a crazy format.
Anyway, I wouldn't know. I was towards the end of it.
The first one is this the first format you're quote-unquote playing competitively?
Yes, this Sprite Tournament format is the first time I've ever played a competitive style deck. In this case, it's been both my Marincess and my X-Sisters.
I think X-Sisters is the competitive one.
Oh, most definitely.
Marincess is still fun, though.
It's very fun.
It's very rogue. X-Sisters is at least, like, on the map.
It's very rogue, because I remember it was, like, top 4 at a regionals or a YCS, like, back in February or March. It was, like, top 4. But it quickly dropped back into the rogue list, which I think is, like, a tier 0 rogue, for sure. It's very good. Don't get me wrong. It's very good.
Sure, bro.
Shut up. Sure. But I play a more casual fun style, for instance, Brave Marincess.
You actually got Brave cards?
A friend gave it to me. And people think I did 30 Ds with this guy. He just gave it to me. I'm like, thanks, bro. I'll take this free cards.
I'm glad that now the internet knows that there's suspicion that you've done dirty things for Brave engine. I'm glad that will live forever. On your first episode, we've already got allegations. That seems pretty funny to me. Anyway, so you're really more of a new Yu-Gi-Oh player. I think of myself as not having been a Yu-Gi-Oh player for very long, considering the first format I was actually involved in was Toss. But for you, I'm like, wow, you are a baby Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Very baby, but I've known about it since the show first existed, and
Yeah.
I really played when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'd grab random cards I was given by a friend, and we played Duelist Kingdom rules, where it was no summon any level monster. I had fusion synchros in my main deck. I'm like, different color cards, they gotta be good, right? So just like, all right, summon Stardust Dragon in attack mode. Not even involved with the synchro mechanic. I didn't learn that yet.
Uh-huh.
But over time, I learned that show versus card game very different until maybe synchro era, where it was actually kind of like how the game was supposed to run.
Ooh. It's kind of funny though, because the synchro era, they were literally not even playing standard. They were playing synchro. They were playing speed duels. Speed duels and the original speed. They were playing on the motorcycles, and there was a whole extra mechanic that just straight up didn't exist in the real game.
Okay,
you got speed counters based off how fast your motorcycle's going.
Okay, but in the sense of how monsters work, pretty same.
You could normal summon a monster in defense position in 5Ds.
I get that, but I learned quickly afterwards that in the rulebook it says defense, face down. So I wasn't that big of an idiot, but I was an idiot.
Small little tidbit about 5Ds that I think is very funny. So, when the people were designing 5Ds, let's see here. What should we prioritize? Making it so that the game reflects the actual game? No. Making sure the new mechanic we add makes literally any sense? No. We should not explain how the speed stuff works at all. That should all be completely arbitrary. But have a random piece of the plot be hyper-realistic to theoretical physics?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's do that. A major plot point of the show is that the fancy city is powered by this type of engine that uses solid light as the mechanisms, which obviously that all sounds like hoobity-joobity nonsense.
Yeah,
but this is real scientific papers have been written about the development of this engine. This is a real concept that has a lot of research about it, and they, bar for bar, used it. And they did a very good, accurate job of portraying exactly how it would look and how it would be.
Yeah, the energy D reactor, I believe what it was called.
It's why? Why did they do that?
Because it was the best show ever. You can't tell me otherwise. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, of the 7 shows we got out, is the best show of all time. Hands down.
I did prefer 5Ds. But I think that's just because I'm biased towards not having literal children be the main characters.
I mean, you had Leo and Luna, but they weren't the main characters, side characters, but they're still part of the main plot.
I didn't like them, so I think my stance is clear here. I just want it to be adults. I don't know. There's already very good research about if you want to market things towards kids, you use slightly older kids.
I mean, if you think about it, the way they did it was really good because, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the crowd grew up, so they kind of understand the darker side of what GX was going about. Then your people that grew watch GX went to 5Ds, which are now much older, really understood the dark plot behind 5Ds. So they did a good job keeping up with their original group, but any new group afterwards was fucked.
Zexel that went back to baby, literal baby mode.
No, I think RB was truly baby mode.
That's true. RB was let's put as many bright colors on the screen as possible.
Pendulum summoning. God, I hate pendulums.
I like pendulums, but I hate how they exist in the show.
Hey, I forgot. You are a...
Magispector enjoyer.
I was about to say Magic-y. I don't know why I say Magic-y.
Yeah, yes, I am indeed a Magispector enjoyer. That is why the image for me is Bumbuku wearing a cowboy hat.
Great editing skill, by the way. How long did that take you?
It took me looking up Bumbuku card art, and then cowboy hat clip art, and then I put them together in a Word document. But they're different image files, so I couldn't group them in the Word document, so I just screenshotted it. that should tell you my amazing skills is that I couldn't even just make I had to screenshot. Then put it, but I think it's very good. I think it's a very good image. Bambuco and a cowboy hat needed to exist. I'm very happy that I've created that image.
I mean, hey, if this podcast becomes really popular, which I hope it does, copyright it. Oh, I forgot.
Konami owns Bambuco. I'm being like, yeah, I'm copywriting these two images I don't own on top of each other. Yeah, let's go.
I forgot about that stuff.
Yeah, sure, bro.
I'm being hopeful, okay?
I think maybe a trademark on Buttcast would be better, which still wouldn't make any sense. Because who on earth is going to impersonate me?
Bro, everyone wants to be you in your sexy voice. I'm not thinking for your girlfriend, I'm just saying it's sexy. I'm throwing it out
I'm confused. Anyway, I did some, market research, let's call it. I looked up Yu-Gi-Oh! On Spotify and kind of scrolled through what all the different people. The one I knew about was Scarlet, YGO, King Scarlet. I knew he had a podcast. I found it. It has 5 episodes. I was like, okay.
Pog, we're on episode 2 already.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could hit 5 episodes. And I was scrolling through and I was trying to I knew that there wasn't much people doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcasts. I didn't know how few people had done more than 5 episodes. And I was looking, I found one guy who's got 25 episodes. I haven't listened to any of them, but I was reading some of the descriptions. But most of them aren't an hour. Most of them are half an hour. I think it's just him talking about topics, which, cool, but I had never heard of him. And that's still not very many episodes. That's half a year. He kept it up for half a year, and I think there were long gaps between them, and they were, again, only half an hour. So what I think of as a podcast doesn't really exist in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Sphere.
I wouldn't think so. I don't hear much about it, because I think, for me, you're really getting into the more competitive scene. I'd like to hear more about professional takes, the YouTubers that we see on YouTube going to Spotify, make their own podcast, and take from their standpoint, but instead of having to be on, ooh, look at the video, just listen on the road.
Yeah. I think a lot of people mostly just listen to Yu-Gi-Oh! Content anyway.
I like seeing shiny colors.
I thought about, in the future, maybe we'll do it for this one, just for the YouTube video, just having footage up, completely unrelated, just, of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Like the show?
No. I don't want to get copyright struck. No, just I don't know, I get my guest, you, to just send me an hour of you playing Dueling Book or Master Duel. And then I don't know, I'll blur out all your name if it's not the same as your quote unquote alias. I blur that out, but
my alias is half of my full gamer tag name, so you should probably blur out the other half. You see Kirby, but not the other half. That'd
be interesting. Anyway, but I just thought about for people like you, small brain people who need bright colors on the screen, that I could just do that.
God, I feel so attacked already.
I think that's why I brought you on specifically. I think this is my entire objective. So, I brought Ned on specifically to talk about, basically to teach me, because I consider him to be a much better player.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I believe Ned is a very smart, intelligent person when it comes to the game Yu-Gi-Oh! He's very... If his deck style of Drytron, he loves that deck to death. Especially with Cyber Dragons with it. Yeah. And he's smart as he makes that deck work regardless of the format and regardless of the ban list, which conveniently, after a few days ago, the ban list just dropped on, what was the date?
The ban list dropped on September the 26th, effective October 3rd. Yep. So we can feel free to talk about that. But first, you wanted to bash my previous take.
Yes, on episode 0, when you said how your idea of following a YouTuber, I forgot his name, just taking crap off the ban list. I'm not opposed to that, but some take that you did have originally, I'm like, you're a fucking buffoon.
Please elaborate.
For starters, your idea that Vicky Dragon should be able to come off the ban list, I say you're stupid, as it is the only card in existence that has the legal text of, if this hey, make sure opponent's life points equals 0, you win the match. It is the only card ever existed to have it legalized before it was banned. Why? Because there's no real ruling in the sense of when am I allowed to surrender and when am I not allowed to surrender.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that has been ruled. You can surrender at any time.
Exactly. So therefore, I say the dragon declare direct attack toward you for game, and you last second be like, I surrender. Go to game 2 or game 3.
Interesting. Okay. The current text on the Yu-Gi-Oh database is this card cannot be special summoned. To tribute summon this card, you must tribute 3 dragon-type monsters. If this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. Okay. There are a lot of cards that say this.
But they're prize cards.
They're prize cards, and they say this card cannot be used in a duel, right?
Exactly.
And this card should say this card cannot be used in a duel, but forever ago when they printed it, they didn't think to do that for whatever reason.
Which caused issues.
But still, the consensus on how it works is you can concede at any time, and if the person has won 2 games, they have won the match. You don't get to play a 3rd game to hope you resolve Victory Dragon. It's not a thing. So I just see this as being a nothing burger here, where it's like, if they bring it off, it's like, first of all, it is actually fairly hard to search and summon this thing.
I mean, it is a Dark Dragon monster, so the Dragon League would have a fun time with this, but they'd be the only one playing it.
You have to use your normal summon on it. And you have to tribute 3 Dragon-type monsters to summon it. It could be done, but it's a lot of work just for a judge to tell you that's not how it works. It's a lot of work for your opponent to see it and be like, oh, that's funny, I concede. And then you'd be like, you can do that, and then the judge comes over and gives you a PE minor for complaining about your opponent doing a completely legal action.
It would just bring more issues than it just being on the ban list. So I think it's safe being on there. Just don't ever bring it back ever again, because I don't want these issues to arise.
But pole position was the thing that people thought of as, oh, this card is a weird FTK that's really funny, and people popularized it on YouTube, and then actually people brought it to tournaments. And what happened? A judge shows up and tells them, oh, that's not how it works. I declare pole position and the problem is send it to the graveyard, and then you end up losing, and you also get a PE minor for intentionally creating a what is irrevocable game state? Whatever.
Yes.
You actually just get in trouble for even attempting it, and all you did is kind of confuse some people, and now no one plays pole position. That combo, I think, is probably easier than ever to do, but no one does it anymore because people had their fun of getting called out by a judge and then getting kicked out of the tournament. People already did it, and the same thing would happen for Victory Dragon if we took it off. Some bozos would take it to a tournament for like a week. People would do it and think it's funny and be content with that. But then it would just be gone and it would be over and we'd never have to worry about it anymore and it wouldn't be on the list anymore. That's my take. We already have a pretty good analog for what would happen if this card came off. Maybe it'd be worse because more people would be aware of it because it's a card coming off the ban list. But I still think it would only have that sort of longevity where it would only be for a very short amount of time and then it would never happen again. And also, if they did it when there were no big tournaments, like in a gap between big tournaments, then all it would be locals where people brought this, where obviously it'd be easier to pull off in the locals, but it would just mean that the local judge would be like, what are you doing? It wouldn't slow down a giant YCS or something. It would just be a couple local judges having to explain to some bozos that that's not how this card works. This card isn't legal to even play in a duel. Now, technically, I think if it was unbanned, it'd be allowed to be played in a duel. So maybe it's fair to say that it needs an errata.
It would need the errata that says that you cannot play this card in a duel.
Yeah, that would probably be best, but I still think it's not really a problem. But I see where your concern is coming from. I understand that. And I do think it's reasonable to think that maybe things shouldn't come off the ban list if they're just going to cause dumb ruling issues. Yeah. I just think that the ban list is such a important piece of Yu-Gi-Oh! like ethos of the way people conceptualize and think about Yu-Gi-Oh is so centered around the ban list that I want it to be as accurate a reflection of the game as possible, which is why I don't want crap like Victory Dragon on here, and I don't want the Exodia pieces on here. That's why I want that crap off of here.
It's the lore. It's so powerful. No, I'm good with you. I think Exodia can come back because it's gonna suck, bricking on I got all 3 legs.
It'd be really funny though.
Real funny.
Yeah, why can't that sounds like a great YouTube challenge. They're just playing, that's 15 cards that are all just Exodia pieces in your deck and trying to do Exodia and just have the clip of you just opening, all 3 left leg and then 2 right leg, and it's like, this is basically Exodia. And then you put a Photoshop of just 5 legs.
God, I remember the YouTube video where this shitpost Yugi summoned Exodia. It was like 2 arms, 2 legs, and it's like 2 left legs, a right arm, a right leg, and the head. Mm-hmm. It was the most bushy Exodia ever.
There are a lot of funny Exodia memes out there, but I think one thing I like about Yu-Gi-Oh as well is that we have a reverse FTK that is basically sanctioned by Konami. Do you know about this?
I do not.
There is an Exodia monster that he's just a little weird, chubby little dude. That I don't remember what his exact card text is, but it's something to the effect of if you win by Exodia, your opponent wins.
Huh.
Let's see if I can actually find this card. Anyway, but it's really it's not named Exodia. Well, it doesn't matter. But it is a card to allow you to give your opponent the win. It's just a joke. I can't spell forbidden either. Oh well. I will never know.
I guess leaving Fairy Dragon. Another thing I have an issue with was Ancient Fairy Dragon. I am a huge Synchro fan. I love the summoning mechanic. I love it forever. The reason why it is banned is for some reason like Firewall Dragon was banned. Mm-hmm. It is a soft once per turn, and it is not very archetypal specific to what it can do. The reason why it was is the first effect is really not so powerful because at the time it was only 1 field spell at a time for both fields. But the second effect was really powerful in the sense of you can special summon any level 4 monster from your hand or deck. I forgot what it was again. But because it was a soft once per turn, if you can summon multiple Ancient Fairy Dragons or get rid of it to the grave and bring it back from the grave, you can now reactivate its effect again to keep special summon again.
Yeah.
Which its solution is make it a hard once per turn, make it a archetypal summon, so maybe like Leo or Luna's style deck, which was Beast, Fairy, or Leo's Morphtronic deck, make it to target those only, and you have a pretty decent card again.
Well, I think I mentioned it, where it's like, it might be a little too strong because of what you're talking about, it being not once per turn and it being too generic. So I think maybe the play is to just make new cards that have Ancient Fairy-like effects. I was thinking specifically about one that required a machine non-tuner, and it could only special summon machine monsters to be played in like ABC and FA. Because that's the big thing. The decks that took the biggest hit from that were not super competitive decks. It was ABC and Formula Athlete that got destroyed by not having Ancient Fairy Dragon anymore because their decks are so reliant on field spells and the ability to special summon that extra monster. But again, the deck that got banned was just the field spell dot deck that I thought was hilarious. Do you remember the field?
Yes, that much I did remember.
That was really funny. I kind of get that it needed to be banned, maybe. Maybe it was more of a future-proofing thing, because if field spell dot deck can exist, much worse things could probably exist in the future. I get that. I don't know. It's just it's kind of sad to see it go, because it was decks that I thought were really cool that were using it. Anyway, I found True Exodia. Yeah, it's just True Exodia.
If the only monsters on the field are this card, you control and 4 Forbidden 1 normal monsters with different names, your opponent wins the duel.
Yeah.
That's a very butch picture. That's only in the OCG? That makes sense. That's a very butch picture.
It is the true Exodia, and if you control it and all the limbs, so he basically replaces the head, but you also have to control all of them. So this is much harder than actually getting Exodia. Because you have to summon him and all the legs, but that's all 5 monster zones taken up. You have to do that, and then it's your opponent that wins, not you.
That's just a gimmick card.
Exactly, it's just a joke. Now, there were, when this card came out, a couple people that found a way to summon all of them to your opponent's side of the field.
Oh.
You would because there are a couple cards that especially let you summon low-statted monsters to your opponent's side of the field. I don't remember exactly, but it's some 5Ds card that lets you summon weak little dudes to your opponent's field that's supposed to let you beat over them or something. But people were using that to put true Exodia and then all 4 normal monsters on your opponent's side of the field. It was terrible. It was not good, but it was very fun.
Oh, you're talking about the normal monster thing?
Okay.
It just sends all normal.
We're recording a podcast.
Oh, my bad. I was wondering. I was like, why are you guys up here?
Oh, we're talking about, right now we're just talking about the true Exodia.
Nice. Just cut this off. You're good.
Nah, bro, this is staying in. I do already have to cut stuff out, but I'm going to leave this in. Thank you to our special guest. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is definitely the most chaotic one, which isn't a very high bar considering there are only 4 that I've recorded. But this is definitely the most chaotic one that I've filmed so far. Anyway,
but overall, that's my really 2 biggest hot take from your idea about the ban list. Although I do agree that something should just come off, play fun with it, because, Konami can always just issue an emergency ban list and just, get rid of it.
that perfectly segues into the current ban list,
which
is
the one that happened a few days ago.
Snow is banned.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Snow had just come off, and now it's banned again.
Exactly, and I'd say that's just probably a very indirect hit towards tier elements, because they really thrive on just shoving the shit back into the deck, then, keep doing it again over and over again. And they mill a lot, so they have a lot of materials in the graveyard to just activate Snow over and over again. It was not an issue, but yeah, it's funny that it's now back on the ban list, so get fucked.
Well, I think this kind of goes like I had a lot of fun with Snow being around for a format. I'm one of the people who's a bit more bummed out about Snow being banned. I understand that it kind of had to go, that it was a bit too strong. I kind of wonder whether or not the problem was really Snow, or if it was more of a topologic bomber situation, because the Book of Moon isn't that good. The fact that it's basically impossible to stop Snow if they have enough cards in the graveyard is kind of crazy, because you can chain Snow to Snow, not once per chain, because that's kind of wild. But besides that, I don't know. I always thought Snow was just such a neat card that really facilitates binning a ton of crap in the graveyard. I thought it was really cool, but I understand that it's too strong nowadays with tier element specifically. So
after that, next hit was Ronin Totem.
That surprised me.
An indirect hit towards the Sprite deck, which is a fraud package. I was thinking that if anything, they probably would have just limited Swamp Frog to 1. But with this, I mean, it still does the same job as long as you negate the first Swamp Frog.
Without Ronin Totem, it's like a 4-card combo if you still want to summon it. Totally awesome. It's not going to happen.
It's not worth resources.
I think they're going to pivot to some other build. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do.
I was thinking they're more going to go with the Evil Twins.
That's definitely an option for sure.
I think Evil Twins is probably their best option to swing into. If not, then it's pretty much going to just be pure Sprite, which is not a bad deck. It'd still be pretty functional. It's just that you have to rely on more of your own draw skill.
I don't remember when the new cards are coming out, but I think it's the next set. We're getting more Sprite cards, and those new Sprite cards are wild. You quick effect banish and stuff like that.
So that could be wise because they ban it just in case, so it's not really ramped up.
Yeah.
Even though it's funny that Sprite was the most talked deck out of Power of the Elements, and it hasn't. I mean, it's top, but it has nowhere near won an event here.
It's probably not as good as Tier, but if you just look at the cards hit, I think it's more of I feel like it's a little more targeted at Tier element because we got Snow, and what were some of the other ones? We got also Chaotic Ruler was also more of a Tier hit. Hulk kind of is both, but I think it was actually being used more in Sprite as part of the dumb bounce a hand trap back to your hand combo. Anyway,
But yeah, Chaos Ruler was definitely a big hit. I know Dragon Link took a hit by that for sure. I know Dragon Link's still around, but without that, it's like, wow, that really hurts.
As I've said before, I have a personal vendetta against Dragon Link. So anything that hits Dragon Link, I am in favor of. Even if Chaotic Ruler, when it was printed, and for as long as it has existed, has always been a ridiculously crazy good card. It was kind of like, it was just one of those things where you're like, why was this printed?
And it's funny enough that I just now started playing Chaos Ruler in my Synchro deck.
What deck?
My Synchron style deck.
Oh,
my
yeah.
Synchrons.
Mhm.
And it just now got banned. I'm like, God damn it. And I got to go back to Cypher Omega. But it's not bad. No, I'm going to go to FA Dawn Draxer because it's a better card, in my opinion.
Oh.
Then another one that got hit was, surprisingly, Red Reboot.
Sir, Red Reboot is very interesting.
I don't know what the whole purpose was behind that. I think it was a protection against Deep Barrier, and with it...
Kind of to make track cards better.
Exactly.
Red Reboot was always weird at 1 anyway, you know? It was like, you going to draw it? It's a 1-up, bro.
It's a 1-up.
Like, good luck.
I think big issue was like, there's really no downside to it. Just pay half your life points and do it from hand.
Mm-hmm. Which is obviously the only decks that are playing it are ones that are going to OTK anyway, or at least clear your back row. So it was essentially no cost. It essentially cost you nothing to do it, which, fair enough. I can see why it just being kind of a win button, much like IO, that sort of thing, where in the right matchup, if you draw it, you just win. I can understand why they just want to kind of want to just get rid of those.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If I was playing against the right deck and they had no outs to stop it right then and there, it was pretty much GG, goodbye.
Yeah, Red Reboot was crazy.
And then seeing some tuners coming off the ban list was very interesting as to why they came off.
Well, it's just House being gone means that these cards are probably fine. But here's my episode 0 hopes for the ban list. One of them came true, Cyberjar. Cyberjar is now back at 1.
I mean, it's just a funny gimmick. It's just like, all right, then just summon as many level 4 monsters as possible. It's like, cool. Now what?
Yeah. I think I was listening to something where some deck's going to try to use Cyberjar. I mean, good luck to them. Good luck to whoever wants to try to break Cyberjar. It's not. I genuinely cannot imagine it being good. But the other tuners coming up, I'm kind of curious if anyone's going to be able to do anything with them.
I think Lion coming back, I think it won't do as much. I think
Auroradon's banned, so...
As I say, because Auroradon's banned, I don't think Lion's going to do a whole lot for the Mega Knight, Mega Beast Phantom deck.
Yeah, that deck doesn't exist. That deck is terrible. Because all of its good cards are cards that were used in other things. That deck has not been a thing. I don't know. The first time that was ever on the map was in Dragon Ruler format. But because it wasn't Mecha Phantom Beast, it was literally just, what's his name, the rank 7, the Mecha Phantom Beast Xyz monster. That's a Mecha Phantom Beast.
Wait, number 42? Galaxy Tomahawk?
No, in Dragon Ruler format.
Oh.
What's his face that summons 2 tokens and he can't be targeted or destroyed while you control tokens? I don't remember what his name is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, that deck has never... I think maybe once it was a jank deck, like, a rogue deck that could compete at some point, that has never been tiered ever. And with all of their good cards being banned because they're too generic, I don't think it is on track to ever being one. No matter, even if O-Line went to 3, it's not going to help.
Yeah, whatever.
It's just missing too many of its would-be good cards, because they all got banned. Anyway.
And then, surprisingly, Sudatoad came off, so I don't know how that might help the frog packet. Is that a level 2?
Nope, it's a level 1.
Level 1, never mind. So I don't know what that's going to do for frogs.
The idea was, the idea obviously is that without Ronin Toad, Sudatoad doesn't do anything interesting. Because the whole idea is that you would absolutely pack your graveyard full of frogs using Sudatoad to just cycle through all of them because it's not once per turn. And then you could bring back Rodentoad basically an infinite number of times, which you could use for whatever. Either back in the day, of course, it was used for Mass Driver FTK. But in modern context, people were scared that either it could be, obviously, if you summon something like a Cannon Soldier or something, some card that lets you tribute things to deal damage, you could still use it as an FTK. But even if not, it's still infinite link material, which could be a problem. But without Ronin Totem, there's really no way for the frogs to really facilitate getting more board presence, you're literally just basically milling a ton of frogs into your graveyard, which could be useful, but it doesn't seem that good.
And then another thing you said you wanted off the ban list came true, which was Spellbook of Judgment.
Yeah, that card is not going to do anything. I heard some people talking about maybe throwing it into some sort of Endymion deck.
That could be why.
That could be interesting, maybe. I know, because again, Spellbook cards are pretty good at just helping you cycle through a bunch of spell cards, which for spell counter decks can be good. And maybe Judgment will see play in one of those decks, but I don't think it'll be good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think spellbooks at all are anywhere near as good as maybe they once was. It's been long due their prime era.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last one, surprisingly hit seeing a Pointer of the Red Lotus.
Yeah.
Which the biggest drawback is being, okay, 2,000 life points gone, and now we both know what's in our hand. All for a banishment just for that one turn.
Well, I mean, a Pointer is a crazy card because it's just... I remember when a Pointer first started seeing play, it was in back row decks. Because what you do is, games 2 and 3, you would play, or mostly just game 2, you would play a Pointer. No, sorry, it was game 3. Whenever you were going first as a back row deck, you would put in a Pointer, and then you would take out the back row removal card from their hand. So they would side into their Dusters and their Lightning Vortex. Not Vortex. Not
Twin Twisters?
No, well, Twin Twisters, yes, and other. They side into their mass back row removal. They side into their Red Reboot, their whatever. And then you flip up your Pointer of the Red Lotus, and then you get to pick the card that beats you out of their hand. And now suddenly their win button is gone. And now they have to just try to play through 4 back row with their hand, which obviously, if you're a good trap deck, they're not going to be able to do.
Which is real funny, because I am currently building a trap deck called Labyrinth, which came out at Tactical Masters. I am the epitome of... It's just Eldritch, and I don't want to play Eldritch. It seems too, barbaric.
Barbaric.
I remember Master Duel, the first thing I built because I could, Eldritch. I quickly climbed the ranks. It was such a monkey brain dead deck.
I never liked playing Eldritch, because you always just sit on these floodgates, and either they'd immediately surrender, or it'd take you a million years to win, and that was really boring to me, because it wasn't close. It was like, they're digging for some card to win, and it's like, I got a judgment set, bro, you really don't need to play it out. You're gonna draw your card, and I'm just gonna judgment it. That's gonna be the end of the game. You don't know, I can't tell you, but you really should surrender. So then you're just there for 20 minutes, like, gotta keep going. Okay, you still haven't drawn your Featherstorm or your Duster or whatever? Well, guess we're going to keep going. You're putting up enough defenses that they can't game you, but sooner or later you're going to draw the card you think is going to win you the game, and it's not going to happen, then you're going to give up. And you just wasted both of our time, because I couldn't tell you whether you had no hope to begin with.
And I would say, going off of things that came off to the Unlimited, going back to Ned's case, I'm pretty sure he is screaming at Konami in praise
That
Ben 10 came to 3.
I'm so mad, bro.
Not once per turn, Ben 10 is probably the most dumbest thing Brightron will ever get.
Yep. Ben 10 to 3. That, I mean, I guess it's not doing anything. It's not good enough against the top decks. But again, as someone with a vendetta against Drytron, it just makes me sad to see them become more playable.
And I've seen Fusion Destiny come into 3 and only for one purpose. Marketing.
Marketing? What do you mean?
They want people to keep playing DPE package, so by bringing it to 3, it's now a little bit more consistent, even though Verte Anaconda is still banned, and probably not going to come out for a while. 3 of one fusion card to make you, your Phoenix Enforcer is still a pretty good end board to end on.
Realistically, Fusion Destiny to 3 is just a strict upgrade for hero players, because they're the only people who are actually playing Fusion Destiny, and it's a really good card in that strategy, because, unlike every other deck, you can actually send, Malicious and, what is the card's name?
Denier.
Denier, yeah. And then that actually, gives you full combo. Like it's actually like good in their deck to draw the Fusion Destiny. Also helps you play through Nibiru and stuff. So I think that's just nice for them. It's not good, but it's nice for them. I'm very interested that the Nadir Servant came off.
That was really interesting. I guess they see it as Dogmatica is not as important anymore. Well, granted, Nadir Servant does have the downside of when this card is played, as it resolves, you are locked out of your extra deck. You are only stuck with your main deck monsters, which Ecclesia or Maximus or Florides does a lot for you.
Well, what kind of scares me is seeing the Nadir Servant on here makes me think that they recognize that the power level is not going to go down low enough for them to be good again, which kind of spooks me personally, because that tells me that they don't anticipate hitting the decks hard enough in the future that Dogmatica will be a really good deck again.
It could be potentially, but I think it's too slow right now.
That's true. I agree. It's an interesting place that we're at.
And then Trickstar Light Stage.
About time. Finally.
I doubt Trickstar will be anywhere near as good as it once was. Granted, it was only as a package, right? I know Trickstars can play by themselves, but I think the Light Stage was more as a package deal to get more monsters on board.
Yes, Light Stage was never banned because of Trickstar. Trickstar, I don't think did they ever get hit? I think they did, actually. But it was never, in the recent years when Light Stage was hit, it was not anything to do with Trickstars as a deck. It was Trickstars as an engine for the Orcus combo.
Exactly, Orcus, what it was.
Because in that deck, it was insane. Because the Light Stage was both a full combo, because you just got your whichever one you wanted, which would get you another body, and they bam you a full combo. But it also blocks down back row, so it was kind of like, it was basically full combo and MST.
It's real funny that, going back to Orcus, Horror Arc didn't come off.
Yeah, that is
like you said, it's just be more bricks, and they love talking about I can make this end board so pretty you can't beat it with anything you want. It's like, cool. Question, do you have the hand, though? No, I do not. Exactly. Shut the hell up.
Yeah. I am curious why I am very happy that they pulled a lot of stuff off, as it was what I asked them to do.
Yes, your podcast was the one thing Konami was waiting for, and we listened to you, Buck.
Yes.
We got you.
Yeah, they listened to my inaugural podcast, and that's what informed their decision here. It's exactly why they did it. Anyway, I am glad that they pulled stuff off. They still could have done more,
I think only that really hurts me the most is just Ben 10 to 3, because Ned, I know personally, and even though Exorcist can definitely deal with Drytron, by Exorcist, I mean Dimensional Shifter.
Yeah.
If I don't open that card against Ned, I am fucked.
Yeah, that is do be how that works. But that is the dilemma of playing one of those sorts of decks where you have to draw the win button. For Flunder, it's both Shifter and the Featherstorm if you're going first. They're both just kind of and then sometimes the Barrier Statue. Obviously, the Barrier Statue is more searchable, but is less guaranteed to win you the game than the other two. But anyway, it's just about whether or not they can out the specific cards that win you the game, and whether or not you drew them. It's a very different sort of game plan than the other top decks. I think it's only ever really good as a anti-meta choice, that game plan of just draw the card. I feel like that's always the anti-meta strategy. Just draw the card. Because I remember one of the first anti-meta decks was just, if memory serves, which it might not, was basically just Barrier Statue Beatdown, where it was unironically Barrier Statue with a bunch of equip cells to make them too huge to run over, and it was just draw Barrier Statue plus the correct equip spell. That was the strategy. There was no way to search getting the right half you need. Also, they just played all the Barrier Statues. So if you just drew the one that happened to be the attribute they were, you just lost. But the game plan was just draw the one that will stop them, and draw the equip spell that will protect the guy.
Yeah, because I think Ned plays a vanity card. the monster level 6,
Yeah.
where its text reads, of course, cannot be special summoned, and your opponent cannot special summon monsters. It is a one-sided floodgate, and against my deck of X-Sisters, the highest attack I'll ever go up to is 1600.
Yeah.
The other 4 are like 800 or less. Sophia is 100, I believe.
Yeah.
But leaving that, again, I am, I think considering, but I need, funding, so personal, what's it called, sponsors here can help me pay for this deck. Someone sponsor. But yeah, I'm building the Labyrinth deck, which is basically Eldritch, but feminine. I've noticed throughout the years, I've only played female decks. I mean, if they have female card art, I am most likely to play them.
You are the guy who is making them all the... When they printed Dragon Maid, I was like, wow, this deck is terrible, but will cost $1 million. You were the target market. It was you.
Exactly. I'm still on that train of one day, I am going to make a pure Dragon Maid deck for casual only. Why? Because I love the card, also the show and manga. Not sponsored, by the way. But
as if what is the name? Tokobashi's Dragon Maid? As if
Kobayashi Dragon Maid.
I didn't watch it. I just saw the memes.
But yes, you're right. It's very targeted for the weebs out here.
I don't know. I can get, I really liked Cosmo because it was Star Wars and the Wizard of Oz mashed together. I always thought that was really neat. That was just they thought to do that and then did it, and it's really good. All the cards are very well done as a mix between the two stories. I thought that was really neat. That said, I have never played during a time when Cosmo was good, so I have never, despite how much I love the theming and the art, I have never picked it up. But whenever I do have a choice between, more than one deck, and one of them is waifu bait.
Shut up, you.
To be honest, though, even my infallible self, am more tempted to do the one that is prettier art. Because, you're going to be staring at it the whole time you're playing. What are you going to... You want to look at the golden gay man, or do you want to look at cute girls? It's no. It kind of depends.
Okay, to be fair, looking at these card art for the Labyrinth girls, Ariane, I believe...
Is this just smash your passes that way?
No, it's again, you say cute girls. I think she's below the age of 18, so saying cute girls is very, iffy. Because, again, Marin says, most of the main deck monsters are pretty sure under the age of 18.
They can be cute in the sense, a dog is cute. They can just be
fair,
cute.
We know the Yu community. A lot of them can be worse off here.
Yes, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community is filled with freak shows. I would hope that we are not part of that group of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, and we can just appreciate art for being good art.
I am not. It's just that, looking at the past years of me remembering my Yu-Gi-Oh! decks I built, or that I wanted to build, it is primarily feminine art. I don't know why that is. I guess when it comes to waifu debate, Konami has got me in hook, line, and sinker.
I'm reminded of, the Fate series, right?
Yes.
Fate has kind of just cracked the formula that it turns out everyone just prefers looking at women. In the Fate series, if you look at, sometimes they flip the gender of historical figures, it only goes one way. It is only they only turn dudes into women so that they are nicer to look at.
No, you forgot. What's the guy's name? You know I'm talking about, the trap dude?
Astolfo?
Yeah, Astolfo. He's the only one that beats the exception of everyone.
He is still a man in the story, though, or in history. And in the but his gender wasn't flipped. They just only flipped his appearance because that was the choice they wanted to make.
But he still had the thing which made him a man, and people still want him regardless.
People are weird. Do you know about the Astolfo effect?
What is the Astolfo effect?
The Astolfo effect is when a fictional depiction of historical figure is more popular than the actual historical figure. So if you Google Astolfo, you will not find the historical or legend. You will only find the Fate character. You have to find a different way of referencing that person.
Just look up Astolfo historical figure, not Fate.
If you Astolfo historical figure, then you'll find the actual stuff. But if you just search Astolfo, like if you search King Arthur, you mostly get like real King Arthur legend sort of stuff. You don't get King Arthur from Fate.
I mean, you do. It's
sprinkled.
With
it is in there. But Astolfo, it's like you cannot if you don't know enough information about the real historical figure, you will have trouble finding him past all of the Astolfo fate art and information, which is really funny when, especially because Astolfo, the character in Fate, is so completely different than the historical mythological figure.
You see, historical, no one gives a fuck. Astolfo in a Fate series, we all want to smash that bitch.
I'm not interested. No, thank you. I will pass. This has become Smash or Pass. I pass. I'm not interested.
But no, it's just that I think it's interesting because main deck is probably similar for almost anyone that plays the deck. Extra deck wise, unique. Cause I know
you jump back to We're talking about Labyrinth again.
Yes.
Okay, I needed the segue there.
Sorry, Sam. What's talking about the extra deck style is I know some people play 2 Garura, the new one that came out, Power of the Elements, for that draw power. I'm going with...
Oh, are you playing a Dogmatic engine or something?
No.
How are you sending it to the graveyard?
No, Dogmatic Punishment.
Oh, okay.
Because they have an effect that says it's sent to the graveyard to its effect. And Garura is draw 1.
Yeah.
I can look past the draw power, but focus more on say, cards like False Machine, Skull Wagon, which says if this card is sent to the graveyard, target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. I'm more looking
that just... Wait, where is the other... Where is the Intis?
Entis? Yeah, it's there. It's same thing as well. It just says you can target one card in the field, destroy it.
Yeah.
So
what is the difference between Intis and the Skull Dude?
It's just that I do play Extravagance.
Oh, you just want more copies?
Exactly. So I have more copies to have to say, oh, look, I got both my Entis, but I still got at least one of my Skull Warriors or Skull Monsters. I'll send that instead. I'll still get a target pop.
I got you.
So my idea of building the Labyrinth deck style is essentially, I'm going to bomb the board and not care about the results.
Mm-hmm.
I may be a byproduct of it, but you're going to hurt more than I am.
Interesting. Well, but that deck doesn't really use its extra deck very much for actually summoning dudes, right?
Oh, no.
You just sit on the...
It's merely just sit on Boss Monster, which is Lovely Labyrinth of the Silver Castle, which states, as long as the field spell is face up, all my normal trap cards are unaffected by my monster effects. So something like Evacuation... what's the card? Compulsory Evacuation Device. Target one monster your opponent controls, return to the hand.
Yeah.
Normally speaking, Totally Awesome, for example, would have been like, okay, use more material, chain, take that back.
Yeah.
But as long as I have the boss monster and the field spell on, this will send Totally Awesome away and have no discussion for it.
Yes, it just makes all of your traps unrespondable.
Pretty much.
I have seen some replays of Labyrinth. It seems like they just turn into Compulse control. That's like all they do. Is they're like, you can't respond to my Compulse and I can recycle it. And it's like, this is one of the oddest themes for a deck. It's just, I'm going to infinitely use this normal trap card that was released a million years ago. But I'm making it way better by just having a bunch of these tangential cards that make it unrespondable and recurable. It's interesting for sure. But does it have synergy with stuff like D-Barrier? Can you loop D-Barrier?
I mean, it is a normal trap card, so yeah. I can definitely loop it.
That would be interesting. I wonder... Because, what's the old quote? You play 2/3 of your games side decked, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that deck is one of the decks that you can side deck and it works well with the engine because there are so many good side deck normal trap cards. I wonder if that's a point of synergy for the deck.
I say it is.
Mm-hmm. So what are you thinking about side decking? What normal trap cards are you thinking about side decking?
I know for sure D-Barrier, I really haven't thought much about the normal trap cards yet. I'll need to look more into it, but it'd be more on the side of just like, any normal trap card that can just, pick apart your opponent's board little by little, or in this case, just negate an entire summoning right there.
Yeah.
Like maybe Forbidden Apocalypse, what it's called?
Oh, yeah. Forbidden Apocalypse, yeah.
Yeah, which just says Fusion, Sync, or Exceed, which is very limited, but still, the meta being like heavily Fusion or Exceed, like, sure, I'll take care of those.
Yeah, I can see how that'd be good.